We're going to be looking at a few instances, a few sequences in this game in particular where I thought that this was exactly why Chelsea were so dominant in the first half. And then we're going to look at, again, what happened in the second half where Leicester started to come out of their shell a little bit more and started to press. Again, no real difference. When they did press, Chelsea just carved through them more often than not. So it was a game where no matter what they did, it was just Chelsea, just pick your poison. It's either you press us and we play through you, or you sit off us and we move our midfielders around, and you can't really cope with that, the onslaught of people in those positions as well. So I thought that it was a really well executed game plan, but not just that. I thought that Leicester just could not come to grips with the personnel that we had on the pitch. And of course, I will say this, obviously this wasn't the preferred Leicester side either. They had a lot of injuries, and this looked like a Leicester B team, and Chelsea treated them just like that. Now for me, when I'm analyzing a game that Chelsea are dominating possession-wise, I don't necessarily look at the people that are on the ball. I always look for movement off the ball and how we're trying to manipulate people out of position. And this game was a great example of what I mean by that. I think that Chelsea obviously were very much in control for, you know, very large chunks of that game. I'm talking about, they had like maybe 75% in the first half, and, you know, we're just not threatened. And, you know, the next thing that you want to see happen is you want to see what we're doing to, you know, coax guys out of positions, and what we're doing with our midfielders to get them on the ball. And this is a perfect example of what I mean here. You can see here that Chelsea are in possession. What I really want you guys to do is focus on the movement of João Felix, and I want you to look at what happens with Enzo Fernandez and also Cole Palmer. Obviously here, they're trying to pull the midfielders out of position to give space for João Felix, and he gets acres of space. And what you see is, again, Chelsea just turning and getting right into the teeth of the defense immediately after that sequence. And it's all driven from the movement. They're so worried about what the likes of Enzo Fernandez and Cole Palmer can do that they're basically pulling them out of position to get a guy like João Felix in those positions where he can, again, initiate our attacking move and be effective there. And this is what you don't get when you have Augusto on the pitch, because more often than not, teams are just cheating off Augusto and crowding out Cole Palmer. And then as a result, we don't have anyone else in those spaces that can attract the ire of a defender, the look of a defender, and allow for that space to open up for the likes of, you know, João Felix. Here's another video here. And for this one, I want you guys to focus on Enzo Fernandez, who comes in on the right side of the screen there. Obviously, we have João Felix on the ball. It looks like Enzo Fernandez is being marked by Bilal El Khanous, I think his name is, El Khanous. And, you know, he's just basically checking to see what he's doing. And obviously El Khanous does not want to follow him in there, so he's passing him on to a defender who definitely does not want to engage with Enzo Fernandez out there, because it would leave Jackson in wide open space. So instead, he leaves that space gaping. And when you get a guy like Enzo Fernandez in those pockets there, it's a very dangerous action. Like, what is it that the team is supposed to do there? He had options, obviously, to the left and right with Cole Palmer running in. Now, the other bit to this video that I want to show you again is Cole Palmer obviously being man-marked by Sumari. He was throughout the game. He moves out to the right flank and opens up that middle area, and look where Enzo Fernandez looks to go occupy, right in the middle. El Khanous does not want to go there. Obviously the defender, E. Coli, doesn't want to go there as well. He doesn't want to engage in Enzo. And you have this wide open space that is created by, you know, the movement of Cole Palmer, but also the understanding of the likes of Enzo Fernandez. And this happened throughout the first half. Chelsea were doing this religiously, and it has everything to do with the fact that we had too many players in that area with that diamond shape, obviously solo 6. We had too many players in that area to overload that right side of the pitch who understand what to do in those areas. You cannot leave the likes of Cole Palmer. You cannot leave the likes of João Felix. And again, coincidentally, you know, obviously when you give Enzo that time and space, it's also a very, very troubling situation to find defenders in. So, you know, we gave them so much to think about in the final third, and more often than not, you know, they made the wrong decisions, but we just could not execute that final ball. But again, on another day, and like, again, this is obviously not a situation that we're going to be able to present this to teams over and over again. Like, it's not something that I want to see as being our A tactic, but in matches like this where we're playing against a Leicester B team, when we know we're going to be having the lion's share possession, there's absolutely no reason why we can't, you know, destabilize our balance a little bit more for a little bit more offensive, final third, like just ingenuity, aggressivity, and it played its dividends today as far as I'm concerned. Now, Leicester did wake up a bit in the second half. Figured they are at home, they haven't even registered a shot on goal. Maybe they need to start pressing Chelsea a little bit more, and to no avail. Let's be real. Like I said earlier, I thought that Chelsea had this match well under control, whether we were, whether they were in their holding position trying to soak up pressure and like take away the gaps of space, or when they try to press us and try to get into areas where, try to get us into areas where we were uncomfortable. Like every time Chelsea were able to either play through them or, they just didn't take any risk and just went long. But for the most part, I thought that when Chelsea tried to play through, when they were enticing Leicester to come onto them and bring numbers forward, Chelsea were very good at playing through them. There's a couple sequences here where, Chelsea, again, just rope-a-dope, pulled them in, sucked them in. We're looking for the opportunity to spring on them. And as soon as we got that ball central into the likes of Caicedo, you knew what was going to happen. You knew Jackson was going to get on his bike. You knew that the likes of, João Felix was going to get on his bike. And once we get that central pass, it's always the trigger to get our attackers running off of their defenders. And, on another day, we score at least 2 or 3 more goals. Let's just be real. Like, I thought that the offensive ideation was very, very good. We created a lot of opportunities where we could have scored 2s, 3s, and 4s, but we just didn't take them. Like, obviously, on this situation here, you see Cole Palmer, he's breaking, and lovely cross finds him, and he should score. Obviously, Madueke deflects it, and we don't get the goal. This action just kept on happening time and time again without Chelsea having any real success at taking the goals.